Welcome back to Uncommon Monsters. We left off with each of our new monster characters, our uncommon monsters, introducing themselves, and they made a decision after a dream meeting with mysterious figures, each of them a different hag figure, to make the journey to Sharn to enter a life-changing land lottery. However, one additional aspect, when Ezzy awoke, she found in her mouth this token, this steel dark gray token with an image of her witch hag on one side, snake eating itself on the other, mouth and tail in the circle, in front of an open gaping cave. When she looks at it and she rubs the cave mouth, something actually emerges. And balancing there on the token is a beautiful, perfect black pearl, shining, no imperfections. You know that this is valuable. And as you tuck it away along with the token, we're going to jump forward in the story. The 2-week trek from your monstrous home nation of Droaam to the unfriendly lands of Breland to the shining human city of Sharn challenge you like nothing you have experienced before. But you finally arrived. Due in no small part to the mysterious hag token you awoke to find after your portentous dream. Amazingly, the token seems to always provide you with just what you need in the most crucial moment. Despite your own admirable efforts, you're painfully aware that you would not have made it to Sharn in time to enter the land lottery, or likely at all, if not for the token. Whether a caravan leader inexplicably granted you passage at one glimpse of the token, a violent mugger spared your life in exchange for the token, which miraculously appeared back in your pocket moments later, or a crossbow bolt aimed for your heart was blocked by the token, its power and import cannot be denied. Before you even reached Sharn, the hag demonstrated her intentions and ability to uphold her side of the bargain. And you cannot help but wonder how you will be made to repay this hefty debt. The unsettling mystery of the hag sinks to the recesses of your mind as the soaring city of towers appears on the burning dawn horizon, glistening against the backdrop of the shimmering ring of Sybaris, aglow with the light of the rising sun. So I'm gonna, in roll 20, hook you all up with what I think is a really cool image. So first of all, you went from Droaam through Breland to Sharn. And then as Sharn appears on the horizon, you see a beautiful, amazing, sprawling city of towers unfold before you. Sharn is nothing like anything found in your home nation of Droaam, or anywhere else in Eberron for that matter. The massive metropolis is a true testament to what can be accomplished when ingenuity and magic are combined with lofty ambition. Existing within a manifest zone connected to the air realm of Saranya, Sharn extends vertically from the cliffs and plateaus high above the hilt of the Dagger River up into and above the clouds, with its uppermost district literally floating atop the very clouds themselves. As you travel the final few miles down the old road, and just so you all are clear on exactly how this voyage went down, Chris, you'll have to pan out on this. Sorry if it's... So you all started from wherever you were in Droaam. I think it was the Great Crag for most of you. And the voyage that you took led you east.
If you're displaying something on roll 20, I'm not seeing it.
Okay, so here's Droaam.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Great Crag's the capital. Most of you started there, traveled east along what's known as the Orion trade route, the land route, through Greywall, which is the major trade city of Droaam, at the border of Droaam and Breland. Don't be too worry about scaling it too much because I'm going to be moving y'all around. Into Breland, which you should be seeing now. And from up here, I'm pinging it for you, you took the old road south, across the Dagger River, and then south on the old road into Sharn. And this journey took you 2 weeks in a caravan of steady travel, hundreds of miles. So I want y'all to keep that in mind as we move into the next scene, because usually you're going to give me a little blurb on how you made it here. As you travel the final few miles down the old road toward your destination, and I'll put you back now on what you're actually seeing, which is the city itself. And I really like this picture. Saying my internet connection's unstable. So hopefully we don't have any problems.
All clear on our end so far.
As you travel the final few miles down the old road toward your destination, the towers of Sharm seem to grow in size and number until the entire skyline is dominated by its majesty. What you first assumed were birds turn out to be hundreds of flying beasts and carriages, conveying Sharn's wealthier citizens throughout the city. At this early morning hour, the bustling city resembles a shining beehive. The brisk travel pace to which you've become accustomed slows to a stop as you draw within sight of Rowan's Gate, the massive glistening stone archway leading into the promised land of Sharn. After the first hour of waiting amongst the other weary travelers eager to enter the shining city, you begin to understand why you were cautioned to arrive early. Though the peaks of Sharn's towers came into view with the rising sun, at this rate, you'll have no time to spare to make it to the Thrash Grand Hall by the noon deadline. Roll initiative for me. This is going to determine the order of our next scene. Ooh, close.
Oof.
Oh, damn.
Oof.
So it looks like we're starting with Geltrima again.
All right.
Geltrima, you finally arrived at Sharn. Tell us how'd you get to Sharn? Did you get on a caravan with some other monsters? Did you kind of loan yourself off as a hireling in some way? Try to go it kind of on your own? How would you have made it to Sharn, and who would you be with now that you're in this line outside the gate waiting to get in?
So Geltrima will be, he would have paid for the trip, the caravans, honestly, working as a guard as needed, and just helping out along the way. And now that he's here in Sharn, he's just gonna be patiently waiting in line, kind of anxious, but not trying.
I would say that you were able to find a caravan that needed a guard when you were in. So you left the Great Crack.
Yes.
And you made your way kind of on your own, pretty much, to Greywall. You were trying to kind of sell yourself as a guard, but there was nobody who was really taken. So you finally were able to get in with the other group of like pilgrims, basically, and at least have enough food and travel companions to get you to Greywall. Greywall at the eastern border of Droaam, right before you get to Breland. In Greywall, there's a lot more activity. There were a lot more options. So you're able to actually sell yourself off as a guard to a caravan headed to Sharn. But this was a caravan of humans. But these were like shady. You could tell, but you didn't really have a choice. They weren't directly doing anything shady in front of you. But you had the idea that maybe they were bootlegging or something, right? But you couldn't really prove it. It just seemed like maybe they were going to do something shady, but they hadn't done it yet. You kept a close eye on them, but they never really did anything. But there must be some reason they're hiring you instead of like a non-monstrous guard. But you say whatever, maybe they're just cheap. So they let you travel with them, and there's some issues here and there, especially some of the humans see you, and some of the relish races try to give them a hard time. They get scared off. You make it, but as you're approaching Rowan's Gate, one of them looks at you, rough-looking human, long, scraggly beard. All right, you're done. You're on your own now. These guards can handle it from here. So they point off, and you see that there's a number of city guard who are patrolling the area. Basically, this guy is telling you to get lost, that they don't want to be associated with you riding up into Sharn.
Well, why do I have to get lost? Why can't I just ride with you for a little bit longer?
It'll be harder for us to get in if we're not moving. Basically, you can stand over there, but you don't know us. We don't want them to know you travel with us. They don't trust your kind around here.
Of course, all you humans are the same. Fine. I'll get off here and I'll find my own way.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks. Appreciate everything. Bye.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, whatever. So they shoo you away, and they just go about their own way. So you're left standing on your own. And as you step off to the side, you're immediately approached by the city guard. You see these imposing figures, human, half-elf, and a dwarf. It's a little unit of 3 of them, and they walk up on you. And the dwarf looks. They have burnished bronze armor. They have scarlet capes hanging off of them. They're all like clean cut, right? These are real Boy Scout looking fellers here. You can tell kind of the military or law enforcement type anywhere you see it. These are your type of people right here. Except they're not. As they approach you, you notice that on their bronze armor, first of all, they're very well armed. They have shields strapped to their back. They have pole arms as well. All of them have that same sash. And pinned on the sash at the neck is an emblem. And it looks like the city emblem for Sharn, which is hanging on all the flags outside the city. But it's got some distinct differences. I'm showing you in roll 20 now. The Sharn city crest. Theirs looks like that, except for where the Sharn's blue, theirs has a scarlet, which is just like their sashes that are hanging. And where the keys are over the Sharn crest, it's cross spears, like they're armed with. They approach you, and dwarf steps out in front of the human and the half-elf and looks you up and down. What are you doing here?
Well, I'm a monster outside of Droaam, coming to Sharn. I think you know what I'm doing here, as he kind of pulls out the flyer out of his pocket, the copy that he has, and just kind of waves it in the air next to him.
Dwarf looks at the poster. You're one of them, huh?
Yes, of course.
Give me that flyer. And he pulls out. He leans back to the human. And the human hands him a rolled up scroll. Give me the flyer, and I'll give you what you need.
All right, and we'll just hand the flyer to him.
He just snatches it out of your hand and tosses at you this rolled up piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that. Do what it says. And we won't have any problems. And he glares at you. And then they start to walk off, and the half-elf gives you this, like, super arrogant look. We'll be waiting for you all to cross track. Believe me, we know you're coming. He spits at your feet.
Oh, thank you for your hospitality. Have a nice day. And he'll look at the paper, read what it has to say.
Okay, so what you've got there is the UCM landlord directive. It's number 7 on your player reference guide. If y'all want to open that up. Oh, wait, on your, number 7.
Okay.
On mine, it's different. So when you take a look at it, basically what you're seeing here turns out to be the instructions for you monsters coming into town. And what it boils down to, notice, all individuals within the city of Sharn are subject to the Galifar Code of Justice at all times. This is bold, printed right at the top. First thing they tell you. You've heard of the Galifar Code of Justice before. It is what these humanoids and these relish people and these people of the recognized kingdoms of Sharn see as their code of justice. For your reference, players, you want to bone up on the Galifar Code of Justice. You can look at page 126 of that Sharn PDF, which is number 5 at the bottom of your guide. Basically, no murder and no steal and stuff like that. But they want to let you all know that you're bound to that code. Per the Council of Sharn and its governor, Droamite citizens visiting Sharn for the purpose of the Droland land lottery are granted safe haven within Sharn. On the day of the land lottery, 15th of Therendor, 999 YK. This agreement is pursuant to the following terms. And the terms are outlined. It says Droamite citizens have to follow the Galifar Code of Justice or be expelled from the city. Droamite citizens have to stay in the lower ward of Tavix Landing and can only go out of there to go to the land lottery. And they can only follow the route. And you see there's a little map at the bottom of this flyer. It shows you the route that you're supposed to follow. You have to stick to that route. You're not allowed anywhere else. After the land lottery is complete, all Droamite citizens must directly return to Lower Tavix Landing, and you must vacate the city before sunrise on the 16th of Therendor. That's tomorrow. If you remain in the city after sunrise 16th of Therendor, you will be removed from the city. You will be expelled. And if you violate any of the terms of this directive, then you will be expelled from the city and not allowed to participate in life. So you're left holding, looking at this clearly go away sign that they have given you. And clearly, if you step out of line one little bit, they're not going to tolerate it. I mean, they're making that very obvious. And they have planned for you all to be here, and they are controlling the situation. And as you look around you, there are city guard just on all the towers, throughout the crowd. Definitely got the numbers and the power to back it up. At the bottom of this little directive, you see a little note that says, published by Half Tax Books and Binding, the commission of the Council of Sharn. Apparently they were commissioned publishes. So as you wait in the line, you make your way up to the gate, and you get there, and there's more of these watchmen. Of course, they're crowding the gate, and you show them the directive, and they usher you through into Rowan's Gate. So we're going to cut back now over to Ezzy. Ezzy, how would you have made your way here to Sharn?
Well, so I did a little bit of traveling with the Horde, and then once we started going back north, I kind of had to break away. Unfortunately, I had to give Nancy some of the things that are really hard to travel. Stupid Nancy, whatever. But other than that, I did, before I left, I went ahead and just peeled off the flyer from the temple tent. I mean, it's on the wall. It's just canvas. What are they gonna do about it? I'm leaving. Because I just so happened to run into a traveling salesman who specialized in pets and animal familiars. And he was having some trouble with a couple rascal big dogs. So I was like, hey, I can help a little bit. I've got a little bit of experience in getting these bad boys trained. So I helped out a little there, traveled a little with him. And, just because I could, every time I saw one of those little flyers, I went ahead and just peeled it off. Mine now. Suckers. So I've got a nice little stack of those flyers because you never know, they might come in handy.
That's beautiful.
Traveled with him for a little bit and then got bored. And then kind of like stashed into the back of this wagon, kind of hid. I'm small enough, it worked. Until they found me, and then I kind of had to get out of that one. And I kind of walked on my own for a little bit before I ran into the salesman again and just kept traveling with him. It was a nice one, that one. Nice and warty. Ugh, wish he were soap so I could have rubbed him all over me.
Yeah, he was glad to have you back because your skills with the animal handling, very impressive. Not to mention, you fixed quite a meal with meager offerings. Very impressive. It's like you're used to working with little.
It's like coming home.
Yeah. So he let you this gentleman. We'll say it was a dwarf. This old kind of gruff dwarf. He doesn't like anybody, but he likes you. You know he likes you. I guess you can stick around. Whatever. The animals have been missing you.
Oh, the little sweet ones. I'll give a couple little scratches. Oh.
Whatever. Stay with me. And he lets you stay, and he actually doesn't even try to make you get out of the caravan once you get out of the wagon once you get to Sharn. But when the city guard comes by, he does say, I got a passenger. She's been traveling with me, and helping her out, and she's helping me out. Seems fine. It's like a giant compliment from this guy. We'll call him, his name's, it's Groof. It's Groofed, Gruft. You got like a umlaut over the U. Groofed. She's fine. And they when they see you, these guards, it's 3 of them again, inspecting.
And fully decked out in heavy war gear, giant warhammer on her back, like, hi.
Yeah, it's 2 humans and an elf. And the elf steps forward. What do we have here? A stowaway? Who is this? What are you doing in here?
I'm here for the land lottery. It's gonna be a fun one, pretty boy.
Really? Because I've heard that. And many people who say they don't even have the land lottery booster.
Oh, well, you want one of those? Oh, hang on. And I'll pull one out. Here's one for you, and one for you, and one for you. And there's clearly like 17 more in there.
They take them and they look at the others and they're like, you only needed one, of course.
Why not have more? You never know when you're gonna need it. Oh, do you want some hard candy? I might have some at the bottom, and I'll just start digging in my backpack.
One moment,
I got some hard caramels in here somewhere.
Randall, give me one of the directives. Here, please, take this.
Oh, here, thank you. And here, I found, and it's like a piece of like hard caramel that's got like dust on it, and like a little bit of like. Here you go, and I'll just put it in his hand and just, there you go. Tasty, that one. It
hits his hand and falls off his hand onto the ground. I wish you had not done that.
That was disrespectful. When someone older than you gives you a candy, you eat it.
Ma'am.
Eat it.
I'm 250 years old.
Yeah, well, I've got more life experience, I'm sure. What's this scroll here?
I don't know about that. I fought in 3 wars.
3? Oh, that's nothing, honey.
We, like big ones.
When you
like,
travel
you heard
with
of the
a
last
horde.
war?
When you travel with a horde, honey, every day is
Why
a war.
am I Why am I talking to her? I don't know,
Oh,
sir.
it's okay.
Let's
It's
just
okay,
go.
darling. Now, what's this? What do I need this for? What is
Don't
this?
cause any trouble while you're in the city. Read that I gave you. Read it, okay? Let's go. No
Okay, I'll come with you.
unsolicited
I'll
candy.
come with you. That's
No,
fine.
you stay.
That's...
We're going. You please. Somebody stop her.
Well, you said let's go, so I'm
No, you
coming.
stay. Hey. Okay, bye now. He
Have a
backs
nice
away.
day, sir.
Yeah,
I guess
okay.
I'll read this
Well,
now.
That was the worst. I need to call my grandmother. Whew. He walks off and shaking his head, and you read the directive. Same thing. Basically, hey, we don't want you here, but you can stay for one day. Don't do anything wrong, or you're out of here. And we're watching you.
Aye.
So you're ushered through the
At all
gate.
times.
Ushered into, you're allowed to stay in the wagon. You just kind of move up the front. You just show them the directive as you get in. They just wave you on. Shortly, once you're as you're moving through the gate, where you're going to switch it over to my brother, and let's see what you are up to. So, how would Vol have made it here to Shark?
Well, maybe a little bit of Gilby wore off on me, or Gibby. I tried to go it on my own at first. So there you are in the middle of the night. I'm being chased by wolves. Not the best situation. I haven't ran in years. I head off into the woods, lose track of the patch, managed to get myself up on top of a rock that the wolves can't quite get up on. But here I am, stuck on top of a rock, with teeth below me. I sit there for the entire night. I take the coin out and I'm looking at it, realizing that, well, here's another good chance I've lost. And I'll be damned if the sun didn't shine off that coin and set off the attention of a traveling tradesman down the road. Him and his guards came in, scared the wolves off, thought I was a threat. Humans, bugbear, I understand. I played him a little tune, told him how thankful I was. They said they'd be happy to have me along just to scare away other humans. I'll take what work I can get. Sure enough, they were heading to Sharn. Worked out. Once we got close to town...
Your tunes were impressive. Your tunes were impressive, too. They lost their bard. You got a feeling that he might have been annoying and they might have killed him. But they lost their bard and they've been looking for a new one.
Then I tried extra hard to just keep my mouth shut and keep the tunes rolling.
He did a lot of that audience humor stuff where you make fun of the people around you, and he was also banging the caravan leader's wife.
Oh, none of that.
One of the jokes was about that. He made a limerick about it.
Yeah, that's not me. I sing songs about inspiration in battle. I try not to insult, unless you really screw up the team. Then you have it coming.
So you fit in well. We're glad to have you along, and they also use you for intimidation purposes, as you said, at a few points. Do you travel with them all the way into Sharn?
I waited until we got a little ways out. I understand tensions are tight in the area. So I told them to hang back, drop me off a few ways out, with outside of eye shot. Made sure I had my poster packed away in my pocket, put my book bag on, got everything situated, and hoofed it the rest of the way. I'm up to this challenge. Gotta stay fit, gotta practice like I used to. Been years of bench warming behind me. Time to get back in the old heave-ho, so to speak. Ran all the way to the border, till whatever stops me.
Yeah, so you come running in and you're Lord, you're doing it, man. And then you see the towers come over, right? And you're getting it, Rocky style. And then you gotta slam on the brakes because there's a giant line. And it's so anticlimactic. And next thing you know, you go from sprinting to glory to standing in a line looking at your
Stand in a line. No, this is a great chance for squats.
So
Every time the line moves, I squat.
Yeah. Doing some squats as you go. I love it. You're optimizing. So you're moving in, and as you get a little closer, you get approached by a trio of guards. In this trio, you have a half-elf, and you have a human, and you have also a full elf as well. The half-elf walks up. Why are you walking like that?
They'll strengthen the hamstrings. You look like you were taught to run by the swim team. It's a fun jab. Anyways, I'm
Is he
looking to
making
get
a joke? I didn't know that you all could make jokes.
Yeah, well, I just did. Surprised I
That
flew
what you
over the head of
for?
someone so tall.
Yeah, are you here to make jokes? Is that why you're here? We don't need any more jokers.
I've had it with jokes, so if you'll just let me by.
Well, why are you here, sir?
I take the poster out, and it's drenched in sweat from the run. There you go. The words right. The lottery.
Bruno, take that from him. I'm not touching it.
There you go, Bruno.
The human reaches out like, takes it.
Don't
Looks
mind the
legit,
smell.
boss.
Wasn't no Baz on the way here.
Yeah, it smells. He's right.
It's healthy.
Got hair on it too. Pretty bad, boss. So give him one of the things. Just give him a directive. They hand you this rolled up paper. Do what that says, or we'll kick you out of the city. You have until tomorrow. That is it. Bye. He turns on his heels and just stomps off.
I watch it, pan through it, make sure there's nothing that sticks out that I might have missed. Any kind of fine print, anything like that. And
Yeah,
we're
it's
off into
just
town.
just all straightforward. Yeah, you need to follow the laws. If you do anything wrong, we're gonna keep you out. You got 1 day. Blah blah. We don't want you here. Very clear. Very clear message. Not trying to hide it.
Okay. Yep.
So you enter Rowan's Gate as well. The three of you have entered through Rowan's Gate. So you entered this just unbelievable, sprawling, urban, massive city of towers. I'm going to take you to an image of the interior, what you all are seeing as you make your way through Rowan's Gate. If you take a look in roll 20, you'll see an image. It's just towers everywhere connected by bridges. And as you're looking around, you're seeing not only flying creatures going around in the different area, but you're seeing lifts taking people throughout the different levels of the city, entering through Rowan's Gate. So a little bit about Rowan's Gate here. Hordes of people stream through this gate at all times. There's a continuous flood of traffic. Noise fills the streets. You've got the sound of people shouting, calling for each other, people selling things. Hey, over here, we've got fresh apples. And then like, make sure to visit the museum. And they're passing out flyers, and you've got just a flurry of activity as you're entering through these gates, but there's no stopping. I mean, you're ushered through. It's like going to a music festival and you're at the entrance and everybody's behind you, right? So you're just going one direction. So you're kind of being pushed along as you're walking in. When you finally arrive at the arch of the giant stone gate and you display the landlord directive to the scowling guards, you're unceremoniously ushered into the city and find yourself in Lower Tavix land. So Sharn, as you've seen and heard, and you're aware, it's common knowledge, is separated into a bunch of different sections based on locations of plateaus, and then different districts within the wards of the different levels. You're entering on the lower level of the quarter Havoc's landing. It's the gateway to Sharn. It's a constant flurry of noise and activity. Anyone who comes to Sharn by land comes through Lower Havoc's landing. The Orion Lightning Rail comes through Terminus, which you, as you enter, you see before you, ahead, beyond this area where you've got all the people entering in the immediate shops and restaurants and things that are immediately in the area. You see coming in on this massive rail system, which you were able to see from outside the city, a railway leading to a massive station that you know is the docking of the Lightning Rail. And go ahead and everybody roll perception for me. as you're looking around and trying to get your bearings and being ushered through, the smell of animal dung from all of these pack animals wafts into your nose, along with just the mud sticking to your feet. It's cut as you lead a little further in. It starts to get cut with some more enjoyable smells as these flavors wafting out of some different taverns along the edges and restaurants, and even there are little stands where people are offering different foods and beverages. So you're starting to get a flurry of different smells, but you're also smelling all these different weird people around you, non-monstrous creatures that you're not used to their smells as well. So let me see perception here. Wow, Bold on top of it. Hey. And damn Geltrima. Okay, so as you head in and you look at the directive that they gave you, and you start to look around, and then you start to follow the path, which is leading you from Rowan's Gate in towards Terminus on the map. Okay, I gotta go towards Terminus. You follow the line. You notice that all of the non-monstrous people have been ushered a different direction, and that you're left kind of in a very sparse area now, and the shops around you are now closed, the restaurants and shops and things, and all you see around you are a few other monsters coming, some that are coming in from behind, some that are kind of lingering ahead that are coming before you, but y'all are spread out. And then as you look around more, Chris especially, you see guards hidden throughout all over the place. In addition to ones that are very visible, there are ones hidden as well, in windows and on roofs and throughout the towers. And you are being watched. And clearly this path that they have marked for you monsters has been cleared. So are you all just going to directly follow the directions and just follow this path, or is anybody going to try to make a deviation or anything like that?
I think Volbert is... Well, I'm going to follow the path. Just keep to it. I want a quick day with no issues. But I would like to find some fruit juice, because I am thirsty.
Yeah, you'd love some juice. You have been traveling and you're thirsty, and you look around and there's nowhere to buy anything. This path that they have sent you on, they have closed down all the shops and nobody's selling anything. It's almost like they don't want to serve your kind.
Message loud and clear.
Yeah.
I think I'm kind of just following, but I get distracted really easily. I'm very, that 2 feet 11 and 3/4 inches. It's a little short. Can't really see what's going on. But I like to think. And DM, if you're not okay with this, let me know. In my distraction, I hear somebody talking about juice, and I'd like to look in my bag to see if I have any juice boxes.
Okay. So you think you hear a grumble about juice. It sounds like somebody might be in need. It's kind of wafting on the wind. But with your 10 perception,
I don't know where it came from.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll that into a situation along the lines of you start to look for juice, so you start to not pay attention to where you're going, and you head towards where you're supposed to go, but where you're supposed to make a little turn to go what would be a bridge leading you over to the central plateau where you need to be. You keep going straight, so not really paying attention. But you're quickly drawn to, in your hand, the directive that you were following starts to flash red. A red flashing appears. And something that you all have noticed, yeah, Chris, definitely your character, Bull, as well as I'm still getting names. Gil Trima. That as you walk, there's a little dot on the map that shows you where you are. Clearly, somehow enchanted in some way.
Okay.
And it starts to flash. It starts to flash at you. Red.
Okay. Can I turn around and does
Yeah.
it show me where I am? How do I? Can I
Yeah.
like follow?
Look at it. You traffic. Look, give me a survival.
Okay. I can. Oh no. 19.
Oh, that's really good. So you immediately
Okay.
figure out, oh, I've stepped off the path, and you immediately figure out quickly how to get back on it, and then you step back and it stops flashing.
Oh, how that hurt my knees. Okay. Not used to walking that fast anymore. Oh, okay.
As you step back onto the path, you see a half dozen guards rushing towards your location.
I'm just gonna try and blend in with the crowd and just kind of.
There's no crowd. It's like you, and then a lot of empty space, and then there's maybe a monster over there. They come running at you, and they look around, and they look at you, and they say,
Help!
"We got an alert.
I'm lost.
We got an alert that somebody's straight off the path."
I'm lost. I'm lost.
Oh,
I can't
Wait.
see.
oh,
Was
no.
it
Oh.
you?
I'm.
Ma'am, calm down.
Okay.
A human, like a younger one. Ma'am, calm down. What?
Okay.
Did you step off the path?
Am I off the path?
Did you leave the path? We got an alert that somebody left the path with the
Well,
directive.
I
Not
was
supposed to
walking.
do that.
I was walking.
Yeah. Did
and
you walk
then
over there?
suddenly there were no more people.
It's off the path.
And then suddenly
Yeah.
there were no more people, and I was very confused.
You gotta follow the path, ma'am. You just gotta. Can you persuade? Give me a persuasion.
Can you help me find the path?
Ma'am, okay. She's just confused. Ma'am,
Yes.
you have to stay on the path
Okay.
of the pier. He points to it. You have to just go that way. See the bridge?
Okay.
Go that way.
Yeah.
And then
Uh-huh.
follow along the other bridge to the left. Stay
Okay.
at the base. So here, just Janai, go with her. Janai, just take her.
Hello. I'm Ezzy. How are you?
Does she really need somebody? Well, I don't.
Can
she
you
already
hold
went
my
off the
hand?
path
I'm
once.
very little, and I'll just take his
Are we-
hand.
Are you gonna arrest her? I mean, what do we can't? She's old. When you go to take his hand, you didn't even realize it, but the hag token's in your hand. I don't know. You don't know how it got there. He sees it and he looks at it. Yeah, I'll take her.
Oh,
y'all go
thank you,
ahead. I'll-
sweetheart. Oh,
We
your
don't. I
grandma
just don't want you to get in
must
trouble.
love you.
Yeah. She's
You're
not
a
green.
good
though.
boy. You're a good boy.
Okay.
I'll just
I
kind
hope I don't get in trouble for this. Let's go. Okay. So he guides you, and you've got an escort now. The tokens seem to kind of charm him, in addition to your grandmotherly charm. What about Gil Trima? Any action on the way, following the path, or just going to stick to it? I'd imagine he would very closely stick to the path.
Yeah. Giltrim is going to be closely sticking to the path. He noticed all the guards around. He's kind of like side-eyeing all of them because he knows that they're doing this for a reason, but he doesn't really agree with their reasoning. But yeah, it's just
So as you're making your way, you're able to follow the path closely, and you see that your dots, moving with you, and you're sticking to it. Heading west through Tavix and Rome's Gate, you soon enter the bustling district of Terminus. And this is where you see the lightning rail coming in, and this massive station where you see lightning trains coming in quickly, and then they're being unloaded. There's a number of warehouses and carriage houses around. You make your way through Terminus, and you cross over a wide stone bridge to the lower central plateau, where you enter the district of Boulder's Hearth. So you come across the bridge, and you find yourself at the base of the central plateau. So above you are all these massive towers, and the first section that you walk through the district is Boulder's Hearth. This is where the smell of the manure from the animals is left far behind, and you actually are now whiffing the smells of different food being cooked within that district, but everything along your path is closed. So the smells are wafting in from further in. Clearly, they've closed all of these establishments. There's a number of inns, hotels around. So as you're guided along the outside bridge, along the edge of the central plateau, you move through Baldur's Hearth, and you make your way into a lodger's kitchen, and those smells become even stronger because now you're in a district that is heavily with restaurants and places serving food and drink. And you make your way through there again. Everything along your route's closed. There's no juice for you, Bull. There's no savory foods that you can smell, but you're denied access to. Finally, as you move around the base of the central plateau, you come through Granite Halls. And Granite Halls is the smells dissipate, and instead you can hear on the air conversations coming from different areas. Not again right in your zone, it's closed down, but lots of conversations coming from areas, and you notice that there are a number of shops around that have various signs hanging from them, advertising them as places to buy books and find fabrics and art. But you are corralled and led to a lift. Now, I want you all to give me let's do another perception roll. I want to see what you see right before you get on.
Is there something on my shoe?
Love it.
Bull is, I'll fix my camera a second. Bull is clueless, as he walks through. And let's say, he stepped in something and it's annoying him.
Oh, that ain't horse.
So he's distracted. Yeah. Or like a big pile of griffin crap. And so he's not really paying attention as you get ushered onto the lift. Let's see, an 8 as the 9 from Guild Trema. So I would say that Guild Trema would notice one thing, and that would be a sign hanging on one of the shops as you get ushered onto the lift. And the sign says, Matthias the Mercer. And it's got a very odd looking dodecahedron shape on it. It's one of the only signs you're able to make out as you step onto the lift. This lift is something that you certainly are unfamiliar with. You do not have long to look and linger at anything around you because you're hurriedly ushered into the unfamiliar contraption and magically hoisted into the air without warning. Once you gather your bearings, you realize that this lift is being operated by one of the city watch officers who's commanding the contraption to do his bidding with a series of levers. So working some levers, this human captain, and there are two dwarves on either side of them, and they're watching you all very closely. And this lift seems, under its own designs, just rise into the sky as he is working these levers. I'm going to say that you all aren't on the same lift, but you're close in time. So as you rise, you can see out over the lower ward of Sharn and further up into the higher districts. You begin to comprehend the massive size of the sprawling city, both outward and upward. You only have a moment to take in the majesty of the city around you before the lift reaches its destination, and you are ushered out and into the Dragon Towers district of the Middle Central Plateau. So you've been taken up, and as you went up, you saw out along the city all the different sections, and below you, the lower area, and then you were pushed out, unceremoniously get out. Here, out into the Middle Central Plateau. So now you've actually gone up in the world, literally, and this is a much nicer section of the city. It's immediately obvious when you step out of the lift that this is for the wealthier folks. And specifically, you're stepping into Dragon Towers, which is where they have all the guild halls, the Dragon Mark houses, and the enclaves. All 13 Dragon Mark houses have their enclaves here. Enclaves are sections of this district that are of various sizes. And you know that the Tharashk enclave, your destination, is one of the enclaves in this area. Again, it's free of everybody but monsters, and you're left to follow your path pretty much just under the watch of the guards, who, again, they're not quite as many of them. Seems that they know once you're up higher in the city, away from the gate, that they've got you more controlled anyways. But you're sure there's still plenty. And you make your way through this, what would normally be a bustling area with people on different diplomatic quests or missions or whatever, tasks, and people who are doing business and trade, and then residents who live in that area. But it's very quiet as you make your way into the Tharashk enclave, which is the area where the Grand Halls. It's a sprawling complex that occupies several levels of 3 towers near the Sword Point district. A significant percent of Sharn's half-orc population is in this area. So while you're not seeing like humans and dwarves around, as you enter the Tharashk enclave, it does start to get more crowded because now you've got half-orcs mixed in who don't seem to be so worried about mixing in with monsters as they are half themselves. And it's not difficult to find the Grand Hall of Tharashk enclave. All you have to do is follow the shuffling horde of Droamite monsters that you now are seeing leading ahead of you, heading in that direction. Within minutes of stepping out of the lift, you find yourself standing at the rear of a throng of hundreds of your monstrous brethren outside of the long, dark wooden lodge that is the Tharashk Grand Hall. Dozens of City Watch patrol the crowd of rowdy monsters, attempting to keep the peace as the patience of those who have been waiting at the seemingly unmoving mass begins to wear thin. As you arrive, a group of City Watch push past you, escorting a disgruntled Minotaur and Ogre away in chains, following what was apparently a fight over line skipping. Not that there is anything resembling a line on this side of the Grand Hall. On the other side of the Grand Hall, where the citizens of Sharn hoping to win the land lottery are waiting, it is a much different story. On that side, neatly arranged lines of calmly conversing humans, elves, and dwarves seem to be enjoying themselves, as if this were just another diversion in their paradisical lives. There's no time to muse over the apparent division between your kind and these non-monstrous people, however, when you're abruptly approached by a pair of city guard. Roll initiative for me. So you all are standing now behind a massive crowd of monsters. There's hundreds of them waiting to get into the grand hall to the front, where apparently you've got to get in to enter the land lottery. On the other side of the grand hall are where the Sharn citizens, apparently they open the lottery to some monsters and some Sharn citizens. They're like calmly chill, very organized. And within your crowd, it's like a big, massive heavy metal concert, mosh pit. People are fighting, yelling at each other, getting that. Yeah, it's rough. So let me see initiative. Yay, Vol gets to go first this time. We got to switch it up. All right. I could have gone like forwards and backwards, but I figured we'd make it random. All right, so Vol, you're approached by 2 humans.
What now?
Let me see your directive.
That's me, little red dot.
As you go and you pull out the directive, without realizing it, rolled up within the directive was your hag token.
Shit, look at that. Sorry.
So before you can react though, you don't see it.
No.
They see it, and it slides. And one of them reaches out and looks at it, grabs your token. You've got the blue hag token with that real violent looking Annis hag on it. He gazes at it and his eyes soften and he looks at you and he shows the token to his buddy. This guy needs to be in the front. He's supposed to be up there. He flips your token back to you. Give me a dex save, see if you catch it.
Ha!
You fumble with it and it falls, but
Not the manhole.
It weirdly lands on your foot straight up. It's like, that's definitely not physics. So you grab it, put it in your pocket, and they, come with us. And they lead you through the crowd. Move out of the way, move out of the way. They use their spears to spit the crowd. Hey, what are they doing? People are complaining as you're being led up to the front. So cut over to Giltrima.
Mm-hmm.
You are approached by a half elf and an elf. Yes, directive, please.
He'll just kind of wordlessly pull out his directive and hand it to him.
You start to hand it to him. Same thing. The token falls into the elf's hand. What is this? And the elf looks at the token and he sees this green, shimmering green. That's the beautiful image of the lady, and his eyes soften. And he shows it to the half elf. I believe this one needs to come with us to the front. Seems that he belongs up there. Hands the token back to you. Come with us. Part the way. And they guide you up to the front of the line. As you move through, monsters are complaining. What? How come? We don't understand. We were here first. And you get up, and right before you get to the front, there's this group of kobolds. And they're little reptilian, moving all the time. Wait! Come on! And they're already angry because it looks like somebody else, same thing just happened. Looks like there's a bugbear who was just let in front of them. They're yelling and they see you coming. This guy, another one? We were here. We're next. And you're led up front and you look over and there's this bugbear standing next to you. And then we're going to cut to Ezzy. We're almost to that point. Ezzy, you're approached by a dwarf and a human. The dwarf says, "No, directive." And the guy who's guiding you, it's okay. She's with me. I'm taking her up there. That's where she belongs. Excuse me. And they start to complain, but they see his rank. And even though this guy's young, you'd have to assume because y'all talked on the way and he told you about his dad, who's a captain of the guard. And then you assume that's probably why he's got his rank. So, part the way for me. I'll escort her. So again, you're led up through this crowd of complaining and agitated monsters. And you get to the kobolds. Another one! No way!
I would like to, as we pass the kobolds, I'll just like go,
You're gonna do what to him?
just like,
Oh, no! Oh, that's not even cool. Old
And-
lady, we were
and
here.
then just look up at Janai and go, "You're a good boy."
Ah, this is bullshit. What the hell? Ah. So, the three of you are now standing together right at the entrance. There are two guards standing in front of you, just telling you to wait a second. And then the guards that led you in are standing in between you and the kobolds. And you all are just standing there waiting. So, this is your first meeting with each other.
Hey, you guys know what this is about? I was suddenly rushed ahead.
I got this nice young man. I got a little lost. Oh, by the way, Janai, darling, hang on. I'm gonna dig in my bag and pull out another caramel and put it in his hand and just.
As you do that, you
Good boy.
realize that he had such a hard time getting away from you that what you think is you're holding his hand still, you just have his gauntlet. He has left. He has left his gauntlet in your hand because he couldn't get away from you. He's been trying for like half an hour, so he's
Well,
gone.
All right,
I'll take it.
I guess
Hey,
I'm just like dead eye contact and put it in my bag.
Oh shit!
Hi.
Now, what you do
Hi.
remember though, what you do remember is that sounds like the voice of the person who was asking about juice earlier.
Oh, 1 second. Gonna start looking for juice.
change your
again.
mind?
You've got
Just gonna
juice.
start looking for juice again.
You're a grandma. You've got
Oh.
a juice box in.
Here's what I heard you earlier. I'm gonna go over and put the it's literally a box of pomegranate juice with a little sippy straw. It's tiny. It's like
Oh,
it's little. It's like 3 ounces. Here you go, sweetheart.
One
I
sip.
heard you earlier.
that's like a shot. Oh, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
that's
Gil
good.
Trimmer, you're watching this goblin and this bugbear interact right next to you. Apparently, they're in the same boat you are.
What about you? Can we tell you're a Medusa, or do you have like something you're wearing?
Yeah. No, he's obviously got his snake hair just out in the open. You can very easily tell from Medusa.
Oh, what about you, Medusa? You know why we might be up here?
No, I don't know. I was just about to ask you guys the same thing.
Oh no,
Seems.
no. Those are nice snakes you got slithering up there.
Thank
Oh,
you.
if I had a nickel for every. No. Yeah.
Got
No,
a
where's
question
it going
though.
with
Does that get hot during the summer? All that essentially leather just back against the top of your head?
All the snakes? No, it doesn't get hot. The snakes they stay pretty cold.
Interesting.
But
Must be
As
all
you
that,
all are-
cold
Why-
blood running through them, eh?
That makes sense.
yes.
As you all are meeting each other and having this conversation, trying to figure out why you got singled out, the doors open and the guard steps up. All right, the next one's in. The two at the front kind of stand aside. You three.
Ladies first.
Oh, thank you. I haven't been called a lady since my early teens. Oh, you're making me blush. And I'll just start kind of walking forward, super, super slow, because I have very tiny little legs, and I have arthritis.
Yeah, you probably immediately regret telling
Let
her
her
to go
go.
first as she very slowly shuffles in front of you.
I eye the Medusa like, oh great, I really put us into it.
Just sort of shake my head and then just follow right behind her.
It's like little
So
half
very
steps. Like,
slowly, awesome. Very slowly enter this grand hall, and you can see why it's called a grand hall. And you go inside, beautiful, immaculately carved wood, long table in the center. And as you walk in, you see sitting on the opposite side of the table a group of people. Sitting in the middle are two figures, one very regally dressed human, very finely dressed, but also doesn't look like he looks like he's worked. He looks like he's seen action, and probably you would say human in his mid 50s, but very healthy and strong looking. Got a green tint to his eyes, watches you as you approach with his arms crossed. Sitting next to him, you have another figure, much different. This one cloaked in white robes, an older woman with gray hair. And you notice, give me a perception, and you have advantage on its Giltrima.
Okay. Oh.
Perception just from Giltrim or perception from all of us, but he has advantage.
From all of you. So, I mean, that's enough to where all of you notice that on this figure, this older woman, mature-looking woman in the white robes, that the image that she is showing, her patch on her robes, is an image of Dolarrah, Dolarrah. It's a sun on the top, and then it leads down into like a sphere of water on the bottom. And you recognize this Giltrima as one of the sovereign hosts, one of the gods, deities of the sovereign host. She's sitting to the right of this other regal, serious-looking figure. On either side of them are two other figures. These look much younger. There is, to the immediate right of this central man, is a human male who looks similar to him, but younger. Same dark hair, same green tint to his eyes, but more slender and younger looking. To the right of that one on the end is a human female. She resembles the other two, the one next to her, in her complexion. Dark hair, green eyes. She's beautiful with kind of like porcelain skin. She doesn't look like she's seen many hard times. She's finely dressed. On the other side of the priest of Dolarrah, you have a half-orc female who is very utilitarian dressed. The others seem like they're dressed for show and comfort, but she looks like she's dressed for battle, for fighting. She's wearing heavy armor, dark colored chain, and she's armed with a sword on her back that you can see, and you can see a crossbow as well. And then next to her, similarly outfitted half-orc male, a little larger than her, a little more girthy. He's wearing more leather armor though, and he's actually bare-chested. And he's just got the leather like strap, groin cloth going on. He's got a massive axe on his back as well, and they're sitting and they're eyeing you all as you approach. And the guards nod at you to walk forward and approach the table.
Hi.
So you all walk up to this table. Behind,
how tall is the table?
I would say that the table would be a good 2.5 feet high. So you
Do you
step
have
up.
a stool, or I don't mind if someone wants to pick me up. I'm not worried. Dignity I lost a long time ago.
I'll lift her up by the back of the shirt and place her on the table.
You see this
Standing on the table now.
this central figure that seems to be in charge kind of do like one of these. Welcome.
I'm Vol.
I assume you three are here for the land lottery.
Of course.
Yes.
Why the heck else would I be here?
Did you see the line?
I have heard the line. Heard it's quite rowdy out there. But you made it in, so good for you, I assume. What are your names?
Vol.
Giltrim.
Ezzy.
Well, Giltrim and Ezzy, take that down. Turns over his shoulder. Standing behind this guy are two massive orc guards. They're like just half naked, a little bit of leather strapping around, both holding their battle axes in their hands. One holding a cudgel, actually. One holding a battle axe. Just glaring down at you. But who he's talking to is another figure. And he calls over his shoulder. Let me see. Let me get this name. Lord Hass. Lord Irtane. Take that down. So, why do you want to enter this land lottery? What would you do with this land were you to get it? Vol, let's start with you.
I want to make a coliseum or an arena, a place of gladiatorial events, sports included.
You have experience with such things.
Now, I was a pro in my youth and a trainer in my more recent time.
A pro what? Which was your game, sir?
Pro Hazrak player.
Oh, okay. Well, it's quite an extreme sport.
It can be.
Very well. Nothing more. Just simply want to build this stadium and play this game.
Nothing more. Stadiums are helpful. Not only do they provide a place for people to work out their aggressiveness, it's good for the younger community. It gives them something to do instead of going out and getting themselves killed in dungeons.
So we are concerned with developing lands into a thriving trade center. It's possible that might help. It's possible.
Oh, you telling me?
What
it
about
won't?
you?
Team jerseys.
We'll see. That's enough for now. I'll get back to you. You, sir. What is it that you hope to bring? Giltrim, was it? You look like a paladin. I didn't know that monsters could be paladins of good gods.
Not all of us are chaotic beings. Some of us look to bring order to the world. That's what I wish to bring to this land. I wish to develop this land and help to lead a just and orderly society.
That's admirable. What's in it for you, then?
What's in it for me? Well, bringing order to this society is what I want out of this land. It's all I need.
No personal gain. At this point, the priestess next to him speaks up. Which god is it that you serve, young man? Young Medusa, I should say.
He'll kind of side-eye the other two because he knows that other monsters don't really agree with this religion, but he'll look back at her and say, I serve the god Orion, ma'am.
It's one of the sovereign host of my kind. So were you
I
two?
noticed your emblem.
Were you to receive this land you'd be willing to work closely with the church upon the land.
Yes, of course I would.
Church of the Sovereign Host, that is.
Yes. Obviously, yes. Until, like,
That is a
pull out
bonus.
an amulet out of his shirt and show her that he is part of the Sovereign Host. Or well, no, yeah.
All right, give me a religion check for me, please, Giltrema. You all can do the other two. Let me think. You could do a religion at disadvantage, you other two, because this isn't in your alley.
Worth a shot.
Down your alley, in your wheelhouse.
What's a religion?
So, Giltrema, right? You, let me see, what do you know? In talking to this woman, you can tell that y'all are like-minded. And that as both members of the Sovereign Host, that you would have a similar mission, but in operating in that way is going to be difficult when other monsters involved. But as you're talking to her and as you're answering her questions, you realize something more, and you realize that if you wanted to lie, you wouldn't be able to, because you all are within what you know to be a zone of truth right now. And no lies can be spoken within the zone, and it's the religious in origin, and you're sure that it's emanating from the priestess. It's good that you have an affiliation with the church. It may work in your favor. What about this other one? And they look to you, Azzy. Yes, what is it that you want, young, or small but not young, I can tell, goblin?
First question, with that 13, would I be able to realize I'm in a zone of truth? Especially
No, you're not familiar enough. You can cast it? Yeah, you're clear. That's right, spell. But you just, it's coming from a different domain. Well, I should say like Pantheon. Yeah, I would say that with a 13 and the ability to cast it, that you're aware that there's some divine energy around you and that you recognize it as a zone of truth.
Okay, I'm just gonna look over to what I'm going to presume to be the caster and just go, "You're a lively one, I see. I like that about
the priestess kind of winks at you. A fellow cleric. Huh. Interesting. Paladin and a cleric among the monstrous races is not something common. We are curious.
I don't know. It depends on who you're talking to. Sometimes we get a little freaky deaky out there."
Yeah, okay. So what is it that you're looking for?
Well, to be completely honest, with the land itself, I'd love to build like a pawn shop, because I love getting my little grubby fingers on something, giving a little polish. But I would be lying if I didn't say that I heard some fun things about these crawling dungeons. That sound really interesting.
Look at each other. And I'm not sure about any dungeons, but yeah, I agree. Antiques are interesting. What do you think it is?
I could talk your ear off for days about those. I once found this really interesting chaise lounge. Couldn't carry it because the horde was mobile, but you know, it was great. We stripped it down and then refinished it, but had to leave it in this haunted house. We found ghosts everywhere.
Not so much the type of thing we're interested in, but you know, neat story and
Weird.
whatnot. So what do you think you could bring if we were to say make you a thane of one of these lands, what can you offer? What can you add? What are your experiences?
Well, I spent 15 years in the Horde's army, as it were. Spent many a day in battle. Was well renowned for my warg training. I raised some of those pups myself. Put a bunch of those pups down myself. And then after that, I spent some time in the temple, or spent some commune, whatever, weird things. I learned a lot about some really weird people getting up to some really weird things. I've seen some
As you're like rambling on, there y'all start to hear. You've heard outside the crowd of monsters agitate, and the sound's gotten louder. Get let us in. We're next. What's taking so long? And the doors open, and one of the guards comes in. They're getting restless out there, sir. We're doing our best, but we're gonna need more guards. It's fine. Just a few more. Just do your job, okay? Keep them at bay. Go. They usher him back out. Okay. It seems like we need to end this. We're not gonna find a better group than these three. We've got one more. Let's go ahead. What do you say? Ward 3, the last one. Got to find some monsters. Two of these are religious. I'm sure that helps you. Yes, I do like that. We could find some people who, I don't know, more accomplished maybe, but kind of looks towards the Garcam. It seems that we may be short on time. And then for the first time, one of the others pipes up. And this is the half-orc that's to the left of the priestess. Are you serious? You're going to stick me with these three? An old lady, a washed-out athlete of some sort. I guess at one point he could do something, and a Medusa paladin. He's so confused. What are they? Dad, really? Well, daughter, clearly if they don't work out, you can always just replace them. It's better than the others we've been talking to, wouldn't you say? I guess this is the best we could come up with. Fine. But you three, if and when you fail, I will gladly replace you with, I don't know, my 3 hounds. I'm sure they will serve me better. Anyways, let's just get this over with. And she just, face and palm, just looks disgusted. So, here's the deal. We will grant you 3 the thraneship of one of the wards of our new plot of land along the border there. We're dubbing it Droland. And the terms of this contract is that you will serve my daughter here, the lieutenant governor of this land, for 2 years, and then you will be granted your 10 acres of land. Here's the contract. Sign it if you will. If not, we will have to move on. So take a look at your player reference guide at the Breland governance contract, number 5 at the top. And so what actually happens is this leader, who you still don't know his name, they haven't told you any of their names yet, they don't seem to be concerned with that, looks over his shoulder and calls out, Lord Haas Irtain, Lord Irtain, show them the contract. And this real bookish looking elf noble in this very overly fine draping clothes steps forward and he unfurls a parchment before you. And you see Breland Governance Contract. These accords hereby titled the Breland Governance Contract establishes the terms for governance of Droland as agreed to by the undersigned individuals and their representative nations. While signing this contract, all parties agree to the terms outlined herein. So it goes on, and I'll abbreviate. You can read it in detail, but Breland and Droaam have set aside this plot of land that they're calling Droland. It's in between the borders of Breland and Droaam. And the governor of Droland, who you are gathering, is this gentleman before you, Lord Mayor Cathan Ir Demel. Has control of the land. He is the direct governor. He takes the orders from Sharn and from the daughters and passes them down to those in charge of the land. They're both bound to oversee the land and help protect it. They're providing $1 million gold for the development of the land in total, and they're going to be sending 10,000 citizens to the land over the next year. They're establishing roads between Sharn and Droland, as well as the Great Crag in Droland, and extending the lightning route from Sharn to Droland. So Droland is supposed to become this heavy trade center within between international, between the nations of Breland and Droaam, as well as the rest of the nation. It's going to have ports and all that good stuff. So where your part comes in, as the Thanes of Droland at the bottom, as a Thane, you'll serve as an appointed vassal to the governor. You'll be required to maintain the role of Thane as long as they want you. They can kick you out at any time. You need to recognize the authority of the lieutenant governor in the place of the governor. That's the half-orc lady who, if you glance down at the signatures, you gather, since you all are being made the Thanes of the Third Ward, that she is Zara the Velderin, daughter of the governor. You are to faithfully execute the orders and not take any action against any of the nations involved, or take any action on your own without approval, and promote general peace. And then if you do so for, I believe it is, 2 full calendar years, then you'll be granted autonomous control of 10 acres of land within Droland to be negotiated between you and the government. So you can take a moment to look over the contract, and they're waiting for you to sign it. As you are taking your time, the rowdiness of the crowd outside is increasing.
Just looks like a lot of words. I'm just gonna sign it, and it's really just an X and then a Z, just like a Z.
Yeah, as you go to sign it, you notice that some of the other signatures on there are the King of Breland, who has apparently signed this document directly, Soracatra, one of the daughters of Sorakel, a hag, who has apparently signed this thing. And among the others, the Cathan Ir Demel, who you all have actually heard of. I'm going to say this is general knowledge. He is actually one of the triumvirates of the House of Thrashk. So he helps run, he is one of the leaders of the Shadow Marches. He's one of the 3 leaders of the Shadow Marches, which is the nation to the northwest of Droaam. He's a super important guy in the world, and he is a known go-between between Sharn and Droaam. And then you've got the lieutenant governors, which are apparently all of the children of Derek de Velderin, the governor. Oh, Lord Mayor Cathan Ir Demel, by the way, is the mayor of Sharn. He signed it as well. And then the children, Davin has been made lieutenant governor of Droland. De Velderin, common knowledge as well. If they've got the D in front of their name, that means they manifested the dragon mark for their house. If they don't have the D, they don't have the dragon mark. So you've got Davin de Velderin, lieutenant governor of the first ward. Lieutenant governor of the second ward is Doran, and that is the orc, the half orc on the end. Zara is the one who is your lieutenant governor, and Lorik is the lieutenant governor of the fourth ward. That's the human female. And then you see where others have signed as Thanes. apparently they've picked 3 Thanes for each of the other wards. And the names, as you glance, for the first ward, you've got Flavius Bonneville, Chazalwain Eartane, and Kateria Eartane. Chaz and Katie. You've got, Chris knows who they are. You've got, for the second ward, somebody named Skunk, somebody named Borks, and then somebody just put an X. And then you've got for the fourth ward, Kazarine Durhine, Gregor Shaw, and Xavier Rawls. So you all have your chance to read through and decide if you're going to sign and become the Thanes of Droland's third ward.
Volbert definitely signs.
So each of you, what about our Medusa?
Yeah, Giltrim will take his time to carefully read through the contract, and then after a while, he'll finally decide to sign his name down at the bottom.
So I'm going to go ahead and update the doc. It's going to be signed. Ezzy just goes ahead and...
It's literally just an X and an E. She doesn't really spell much.
Yeah, there you go. Nice. And then Vol just signs his name. Will we do a full signing, or you just put Vol?
No, just Vol.
And then I'm going to assume that Giltrima is going to be the last to sign. Say again?
No, it's good.
He'll be the last to sign as he just quickly signs. Vol takes a minute to look it over, gets the gist of it, signs. Giltrima takes some time and carefully reads it. As you're reading, everybody's kind of tapping their feet and looking at you and getting impatient after a minute. The noise outside is getting a little... So as soon as you sign it, this bookish-looking man who apparently is Lord Eartane snatches it and rolls it up. It is done, sir. And then the one you now known as Derek. Very well. Guards, get rid of all of them outside, please. We're done here. The guards kind of look at each other and shake their heads. Lower down their masks. Yes, sir. And they head out.
Could you imagine being... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you go.
I say, could you imagine being one of them out there? After all that travel I did, to stand in line all day and then be turned away? These guards better bring weapons.
I mean, that's what I'd call a cheap circumcision, a ripoff right there. Oh, good one, right?
Wow.
Love it.
I like it.
There are only
That's a
few
good one.
that could make it,
Good
so.
one.
Everybody clear out. It's time to... What? What are you talking about? That's bullshit. We are... You hear just a roar as they go insane, and the guards, you hear the doors being pushed on and rattling. So, get back, we need more guards. You hear just chaos erupting out there. Well, that is our cue to go. Derek looks over at this priestess, and she says, yes, I believe so. And she starts to make some motions, holding her sigil in her hand, and a shimmering portal appears. You would know enough, I would say, to realize, those of you, it's clearly happening before you, that this is a high-level spell that's used to get heaven out of here, because she's a good one. So, Derek nods at you. Very well. Steps through. You're all coming. And the priestess is holding the portal open as each of the lieutenant governors, the children step through behind, the two humans go through. The orc kind of nods at his sister. The half orc goes through. The guards come through behind. The two personal guards. And then you're left standing there with your lieutenant governor, Zara. The priestess, who you don't know her name, looks at you all. Looks over at Zara. Are you coming, dear? No, I'm gonna stick around. You go ahead. You three. Let's see what you're actually worth. Very well. Rillatal steps through the portal and it disappears behind her.
What's the plan, Zara?
Come with me, y'all. I'm gonna see what you're made of. She steps to the doors and thrusts them open. After you all, and tells you to go in front of her.
I go in front of her.
Do you do so?
Seems weird, I guess. Walking very slowly.
Stare at her and give her the side eye as I go in front of her.
Don't let him touch me. We'll see if you're gonna be worth the damn. So you head into this throng, this crowd of just angry, violent monsters. I need you all to roll initiative.